What's poppin', everybody? It's Saberwolf94. Gonna talk about Pokemon now, yeah. Surprise. But I recently watched a video of a guy explaining about Pokemon Uranium, how it ended up. But I still think that game is available. I don't really do like Pokemon fan games. I'm not like savvy enough to download them and all that stuff. And I, I, the way I play Pokemon games now, I play it for a purpose. Like every Pokemon I play is like a Pokemon that I maybe hatched that is basically ready for competitive play. I just need to level it up and what have you. So, the fan games and stuff, I've never really played them. But he talked about, how amazing that game was and what he wants for like the Pokemon game that's going to come to the Switch. Uh, he doesn't think it's going to be Diamond and Pearl, or maybe he does, I don't know. But yeah, I also think that, of course, a Pokemon game is going to come to the Switch, like a new generation or some shit, eventually. And, he talked about what he wants to feel, and he wants to like to experience it like it's the first time again. And I completely understand those feelings, to be honest. Uh, there was a time in the past where I also wanted to feel the same way when X and Y was going to come out, and even before that, when Black and White actually too. I was looking for that sort of feeling, and it didn't quite live up to my expectations, and it's not really that surprising, to be honest, and I'm going to explain why. Uh, these sort of feelings are good and cool, and I definitely think it's completely achievable. Like Nintendo could come out with a Pokemon game that makes us feel like, wow, this is like, I really feel like I'm playing, this is like my first Pokemon game or some shit. Uh, I felt this way with Sun and Moon as well, but it kind of quite didn't hit the mark entirely. I think it had the potential, but it kind of missed it, and I'm gonna talk about that a little bit too. But while it's perfectly achievable, it's not easy because the way we felt uh, back in the day, and that nostalgia we think about and stuff like that, that thing is unique. You can't really, it's like we want to recreate that same thing and you can't really fucking do this. And maybe after a couple of years, a lot of the memories that maybe you don't feel are as important, maybe playing these recent Pokemon games, they might be sort of important later. Like, for example, uh, it's not that I really like Black and White. They were very good Pokemon games, but if you would ask me, you know, was it a good enough era like the DP era or the third generation era? I would say no. And maybe after many years, I'll still say no. Actually, that's more like 100%. But I'm definitely gonna feel like nostalgic as well. I'm gonna, yeah, it wasn't DP or third generation, but Black and White. I got some good memories. I got some good shit going with that, and they were cool. And that's an important thing I think people need to sort of think about. Now, with Sun and Moon, and I guess I'm going to talk about a little bit about what I want in a Pokemon game to feel that way, like that sort of, man, this is a perfect Pokemon game. This is like, I'm feeling like in the past and all that shit. So, my favorite Pokemon games are Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. You know, if you can count, Emerald is like the most complete version of those two, but they're like the original games, so I'll say all three. And for me, what I want is genuine exploration and mystery and freedom. That's what I want in Pokemon games. And if you think about what that means, it means the whole world, the whole natural, like planet Earth kind of world. So for a lot of people that complain that man is a pain in the ass to cross all these seas and waters and we fucking find tentacles all day and there's trainers and shit and it's boring and shit. I think that that's a natural thing that, if you were going to explore like the world and explore the sea and what have you, it's a natural Pokemon thing. The same with diving underwater. I can't believe that uh, basically third generation is the only generation that kind of did this. Black and white kind of did it too, but not in the way I guess I wanted. But that's a feature I cannot believe we only saw uh, what we saw in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. And it was one of my biggest hopes that in Sun and Moon, this shit was gonna happen. Like I thought that, okay, we're gonna be going underwater. This is fucking the Hawaii Pokemon region. Of course, we're gonna go underwater. I was looking at some of the Pokemon and thinking, man, these Pokemon are definitely gonna be underwater. Like what was it, Araquanid, and a lot of these Pokemon I was imagining, like uh, Mariani and Toxapex. Yeah, this Pokemon you probably go underwater and you get them and shit. And I was really thinking about all that stuff before the games came out, and you fantasize and you think about how they're gonna be. And this is why you build expectations, and maybe they're not met. You don't even realize it, but yeah. So that was one of the things. The other thing with Sun and Moon is that I really thought we were going to be able to cross the islands sort of like manually. You surf on them, and there were going to be like little islands and little side quests and trainers and mysteries and all that shit. And that kind of didn't happen either. I mean, I get in the beginning maybe, taking me instantly with a ship, cool. But then later on, when we managed to surf, it would have been good, just like in third generation, if we could just explore, be free, travel through the islands that way, kind of thing. But, and have the option for the ship for those that don't want to fuck around. Uh, so I thought that was something that needed to happen. But what I want is I want a lot of legendaries, and it, while it didn't exactly Sun and Moon pull it off like I wanted to, like I didn't like that there were like a bunch of Ultra Bees, you catch them a million times, because then it doesn't make them that special. Like, for example, in Sun and Moon, for Kartana and Celestia and Moon, uh, you can grab like 4 of those, I believe. It's either 4 or like what, 4 different copies you can catch in the wild. But those were kind of like legendary Pokemon. Their designs were fucking awesome. I like these sort of mysterious, sort of like alien, sort of you really don't know shit about designs. Like if you saw this, like if it was a Roman Pokemon in Pokemon Ruby or something back then, and you just saw this for the first time, you were gonna think, oh shit, cool, scary, you know, when you played those games and you didn't know shit. And the same with Gold and Silver and Red and Blue, of course. So, that was a good thing they did. Not exactly 100% like I thought, but still cool. A lot of legendary Pokemon. But I do want a lot of legendary Pokemon. I do want puzzles and shit like the Reggie Trio. Man, that was like, I don't understand why they never did shit like this again. Giratina and Diamond and Pearl, the whole place. Uh, what the fuck was the name of that cave? I forgot that you get him in. I don't remember the name. I'm terrible, but yeah. When I make this sort of videos, my mind goes blank as well. But yeah, you had to go through that cave, and it was like a fucking labyrinth to get to that dude. And, it was cool. And the Arceus event, my god, that didn't make it to the English Diamond and Pearl, but that was awesome. I remember watching that Maryland sort of video. I miss those old ass videos. But it's really mysterious and really cool, majestic things, and that's the thing that I really like about Pokemon. Of course, we do want strong trainers, we do want cool music, and I do want the sort of all that competitive shit bundled in as well. A cool Pokemon League, really thought out gym leaders and all that stuff. And I actually didn't hate the sort of a trial thing in the Sun and Moon, to be honest. Uh, I just think it would have been cool if you battled the trial guys as well. Like the trial leaders, like after you finish a trial, you battled them as well, or some shit like that. I think some of them you did. Yeah, you did, of course. But, maybe it could have been fleshed out differently as well. But for the most part, this is what I look in a Pokemon game. Like, basically, just take Ruby and Sapphire and add on to that. Like, there's so much shit you can do. And Diamond and Pearl, I think those games that, like, the, the core, like, Pokemon stuff of exploration are just in there. Like, those games. You just uh, build from them, I feel like. The stuff that was introduced in Black and White, a lot of, cool features and shit, they were cool, but I don't think they really add up to the exploration shit. Like Black and White 2 had a lot of shit going for it, but it, it was also a step back in many ways, and it's kind of a, I don't want to say a linear ass game, but I guess when it comes to legendaries, I mean, I guess you could catch a lot of legendaries, but I don't know. Like, I suppose it had a big story part, and you couldn't really do whatever the hell you wanted as well. There's a lot of weird things too, like you're supposed to be after Team Plasma, and you stop at the 8th gym badge, and like he's like, "Oh, yo, go get the gym badge, Hugh," while we're doing this shit. So I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of weird things about that game that just doesn't make it feel completely right to me. And of course, the fusions and shit. But I do fucking love the whole uh, the battle kind of thing. What the fuck? I don't remember what it's called. But where you get to battle, Steven and Lance and all those guys. That was cool as fuck for sure. But I really do understand where that guy was coming from. You want that sort of mystery and exploration aspect for Pokemon. You kind of want to feel that way like in the past. And you just want more risk. I kind of get that. But it's tough for Nintendo as well, I imagine. Because what you have to realize is that a lot of the times when you go all out, and you do all that shit, then you kind of don't really have ideas, and then the next game it's gonna come out, it's gonna look lesser, no matter what. Even if you might try your best with that game too, but it's gonna look lesser. So that's why they kind of have to give us little by little. I'm actually gonna make another video about the TCG about this because that's a perfect example uh, when it comes to the Pokemon TCG, uh, how they release stuff and how they did it. I think that's going to be really cool. But anyways, I probably could talk about this for hours. I don't know, did I cover like what I want in a Pokemon game? You have the legends, the mystery, the puzzles, traveling around. Freedom, of course, is what we want. And I want more like natural environments, like you explore the jungles and you explore the world, like in Sun and Moon and Third Generations. Yeah, there's gonna be cities and stuff like that, like in more urban environments, like the fucking uh, Kanto and stuff. But I guess one of the reasons I really didn't like Black and White is that it just felt too urban to me. Uh, Perhaps you could say the same with X and Y as well, but who knows? I really just I think the environments in Ruby and Sapphire, they just felt like really like I could really get immersed in the environments. I don't know. Diamond and Pearl too, all the mountains and shit. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this rant. I suppose this is a rant. Uh, I really like talking about these sort of things. I probably had more to say, but when you're talking off script like this, things go all over the place. But I think I got my point across. I hope I got my point across. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video. Hope you guys leave a like, share this with your friends, and subscribe. I think I brought a lot of valid points. This is all my opinion, of course, but this is how I want my Pokemon games. Maybe I'll make a more in-depth video about that as well. But yeah, Saberwolf94, what's that?